Have you ever wondered how pro guitarists can glide effortlessly up and down the neck without ever getting lost? Do you ever feel stuck in one pentatonic shape just going back and forth across the fingerboard? In my 30 years of teaching, there's one lesson that I've taught countless students that turn their playing from boring and repetitive to interesting and creative. The solution is learning the two landmark shapes of the pentatonic scale and learning how to diagonally extend those shapes across the neck. So what I'm going to show you in this video will get you 90% of what you hear on all of your favorite recordings. It will help you connect ideas and solo freely all over the neck in any key without getting lost. So today we're going to learn how to play the two landmark pentatonic shapes, how to find these shapes in any key, major or minor, and most importantly, how to take these shapes and diagonally extend them up and down the fingerboard. But first, what are the landmark shapes? So there are two landmark shapes of the pentatonic scale that all the pros rely on, and that's shape number 1 and shape number 4. Shape number 1 has its roots on the low E string. So let's play it here at the 5th fret. So here's an important thing that a lot of guitar players don't realize. Every pentatonic scale shape is 2 scales in 1. It's easy to see here in shape number 1. Whatever note your index finger plays on the low E string, in this case A, it is that minor pentatonic. So this is the A minor pentatonic scale. Whatever note your pinky plays on the E string, in this case C, it is also the C major pentatonic scale. So this pentatonic shape is both the A minor pentatonic scale and the C major pentatonic scale. So let's hear how this shape sounds. So now let's talk about shape number 4. It has its root notes on the A string. We'll start at the 12th fret. So again, just like shape number 1, this shape works for both major keys and minor keys. So my index finger is on A at the 12th fret of the A string. My pinky is on C at the 15th fret of the A string. So the shape looks like this. So the main thing to watch out for in shape number 4 is how the B string shifts up 1 fret. And then shifts back down to the 12th fret once you get to the high E string. So let's hear how this shape sounds. Here is the most important step. Once you find shape number 1 and shape number 4, take note of where your index finger is for both of these shapes. These are your 2 landmarks. Having a clear picture of where these 2 landmark shapes are will make climbing up and down the neck much easier because you'll have a safe destination to target. So here's a quick pro tip. At least one of these shapes will repeat 12 frets higher on most electric guitars, depending on what key the song's in and how many frets your guitar has. So for example, in A minor / C major, we have shape number 1 at the 5th fret, shape 4 at the 12th fret, and then shape number 1 repeating again at the 17th fret. So before we get into the diagonal extensions, I'm going to do a quick demo of jumping around between these 3 shapes. You'll notice that just soloing with these landmark positions will give you a whole lot of vocabulary. At first you'll need to calculate these locations, but soon you'll have them memorized for your go-to keys. Now let's extend these shapes so that they go up and down the fingerboard. First, let's look at the diagonal extensions for shape number 1. So if we take the lowest note of shape number 1, in this example, the 5th fret on the low E string, and move back 2 frets, that's where the diagonal extensions start. So I put my index finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string, and I play this group of 4 notes, and then I slide up 2 frets to get the 5th note. I picture the shape as looking like the Big Dipper. These 4 notes are the dipper, and this slide up is the handle. This shape then repeats on the D and G strings. Then it repeats again on the B and E strings, except I have to compensate for the tuning of the B string. So instead of starting here at the 7th fret, I need to jump up 1 extra fret, so it starts at the 8th fret. And I do the exact same shape one more time. So now I'm going to put all 3 of those 5-note groupings together. Most people find it easier going up those shapes rather than coming back down, but just stick with it and pay special attention to the shift that happens because of the B string tuning. So one quick note, one of the best things about the diagonal extensions is the consistency of the fingering. So I'm doing the entire pattern with just my index and ring fingers. And when you get to the 3rd shape, shift your index finger up. So you're playing the next group of notes starting with your index. You don't want to grab that with your middle finger because you're not going to have nearly as much control with your middle and pinky as you are with your index and ring fingers. So basically we have the same group of 5 notes repeating in 3 different octaves. And if you look at this diagram, you can see how the middle notes of shape number 1 are also the middle notes of the diagonal extensions. So this means you can move freely between these 2 shapes, and eventually you will start to see both of these shapes as one bigger shape. Here's what the diagonal extensions of shape number 1 sound like in context. Shape number 4 also has diagonal extensions. So again, we go to the lowest note of this shape, in this case the 12th fret of the low E string, and move back 2 frets. So now I'm going to put my index finger on the 10th fret. This time I'm going to go across 3 strings before sliding. Then I go across the next 2 strings, and the next slide is going to be on the B string. And this is kind of easy to remember because the B string is the one where you have to shift up 1 extra fret. So I shift up a fret, slide, and then finish it out on the high E string. Here's what that shape sounds like in action. So if we add up all these shapes, we literally get the pentatonic scale across the entire neck of the guitar. In our example key, A minor / C major, I get shape number 1 at the 5th fret, and then that repeats at the 17th fret. I get shape number 4 at the 12th fret, and shape number 4 also repeats in open position. So here we had A at the 12th fret, C at the 15th fret. Well, that's the same as the open A string and the 3rd fret. So this is the exact same shape. This is shape number 4. It looks a little bit different because we're in open position and I'm not having to hold the string down here. Could pretend this is a fret and visualize it this way. But most people wouldn't finger it that way because you don't need to put the finger down here. The nut already has that taken care of. So I can play that shape like this. So now I'm going to demonstrate all of these shapes. First, shape number 1 at the 5th fret. Shape number 1's diagonal extensions. Now notice I end here at this 12th fret. That's where shape number 4 begins. That connection's true in any key. So now I'm going to play shape number 4. Shape number 4's diagonal extensions. And notice the highest note of shape number 4's diagonal extensions ends at the 17th fret, and that's where shape number 1 starts over. And again, that connection is true in any key. Shape number 1's diagonal extensions. And notice I got all the way to the highest note possible on my guitar here at the 22nd fret. And then shape number 4 also repeats down here in open position. Now the lower part of shape number 4's diagonal extensions are not available to me because I run out of frets, but the higher part is, where I slide up on the B string. And notice I'm here on the 5th fret, which is where shape number 1 was. So now I'm just going to freely improvise. So one of the best things about the guitar is scale shapes are movable. Want to play in a different key, all you need to do is locate the new root notes on the E string and the A string. So let me give you one more example in a different key. Let's say the first chord of the song was D minor. First, I would find the note D on the low E string, which is here at the 10th fret. I'd put my index finger on it because it's minor. If the key were D major, I'd put my pinky on D. But I'm in D minor, so I put my index finger here on D. I play shape number 1. The diagonal extensions of shape number 1 would look like this. Again, I go to the lowest note on the 10th fret of the low E string, move back 2 frets, and that's where the diagonal extensions start. So I play the 4 notes and then the slide. Repeat it. Shift up 1 extra fret because of the B string, and repeat it 1 more time. Then I find the note D on the A string, that's here at the 5th fret. Again, I put my index finger on it. If it were D major, I would put my pinky on it. I play shape number 4, looks like this. To diagonally extend shape number 4, I move back 2 frets from the lowest note. The lowest note was the 5th fret of the E string. I move back 2 frets to the 3rd fret. And I get this shape. I go across 3 strings now. And then I go to the next 2 strings. Slide up on the B string. Finish it on the high E string. Which happens to land right on the 10th fret, where shape number 1 was. Quick tip, is memorizing the names of the notes on the low E string and the A string makes all this way easier. So it's worth spending a little bit of time to memorize those notes. Here's what those shapes sound like in action. So you can see how learning the two landmark shapes of the pentatonic scale and learning how to diagonally extend those two shapes will let you solo freely all over the neck in any key. So your next step is to practice all these shapes with backing tracks. I would start with our example key of A minor or C major. Once you feel comfortable with the shapes, then you can expand it to different keys. But to really be able to play like a pro, watch this video to take your playing to the next level.